What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another character guide in my BB Tag tutorial series. Today we're going to be covering Blake. Now, before I get started with this, I wanted to tell you guys about the series of, the order that I'm going to be doing the character guides. I'm doing the Blake one right now because I want to get the Ruby characters out as fast as possible. They're the hottest thing right now and they're the ones that people really are the most curious about. The other characters, we know a little bit about them. They've been out for quite some time, but these characters, the Ruby characters, are brand new, so I'm trying to get them out as fast as possible. So I'm going to be doing Blake first. After Blake, I'm going to be working on the UniST characters. That series won the poll that I did in my last character guide for Weiss. I asked you guys which one you wanted to see next, and UniST won by a landslide. Well, not by a landslide, but very close, but you know what I mean. So I'm going to be doing the UniST characters, but when Yang drops, and that's going to be very soon from what I hear, when she drops, I'm going to be taking priority over Yang. I'm going to be taking Yang priority over the UniST characters because I want to get these 4 Ruby characters out as fast as possible. They're the hottest thing, and they're the ones that people are most curious about and are wondering how they play and how they should play them and all that good stuff. The Ruby characters are a hot topic, so I really want to get them out as fast as possible, and then I'm going to be working on the other characters. But just to let you guys know that I'm going to be going over the UniST characters next, and then Yang is going to be coming out very soon. And if I ever get the characters done before the rest of the DLC characters come out, I'll be doing them in packs, of course, and I'll work on that when the time comes. But for the most part, enjoy the Blake guide, guys. I really had a lot of fun doing this one. Blake is a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy the tutorial. If you guys learned something, let me know in the comment section down below, and let me know if there's anything I can do to improve on this tutorial series. Of course, I try to include as much as possible so I can let you guys learn as much as possible. Anyways, nonetheless, let's get started with the Blake Belladonna guide. Man, it's really weird to see Blake in an official training mode. My goodness. We've been so used to using the Yukiko bootleg training mode that now that I'm doing this guide without her, it's like really weird. Anyways, nonetheless, we are in the official training mode for the official release, and we have all the displays up with the directional inputs, with the button inputs so you guys can see what I'm doing, and also the displays for how much damage a combo does or how much damage a specific move does, so on and so forth. Nonetheless, let's get started here. And just like with every other one of my tutorials, we're going to get started with the assists. So first of all, we're going to be starting off with her back assist, or her 4P, which is just, your typical defensive launcher anti-air combo extender that you have. It's pretty decent. It's not as good as Ruby's, but it's definitely a lot better than Weiss's. So definitely she has one of the better ones of the Ruby characters. So it's really good. There's also her 5P, her neutral assist, which is this double hitting super. It's a really good combo extension. It's not only that, but it's the reason why it's so good is because it's pretty quick, and also it leaves them stationary in the air. They don't really go anywhere. There's specific combo extender assists that sends them flying full screen. Blake's leaves them stationary, which is a very, very good thing because it requires them, or it has the other the other character run up and combo a lot easier. So it's pretty good. Pretty good. And there's also her best assist in the game. Her best assist in her arsenal, which is her 6P, or her projectile assist. It's her boomerang / yo-yo. It is incredibly good. It's one of the best assists in the game for sure. You can use it for everything, for combo extensions, for approaching, for just defensive. If you just want to sit here, block, and wait for her to throw her yo-yo, and it'll interrupt specific block strings, combo strings, and such if they're left up in the air. So it's really, really good. So use that to your full advantage. All right, now that we went over her assists, let's go over Blake's normals, and then after that, we'll go over her auto combos. So first of all, she has her 5A, which is this horizontal slash. It's pretty good. It has decent range. It's not the fastest, of course. It's not like Ruby's or Weiss's, but it's pretty decent. It's pretty good. It has some pretty decent range. There's also her 2A, and her 2A is not a low, by the way. You can block this you can block this standing, by the way. So let me showcase this. This is the beauty of training mode, really. So if you leave standing for lows, that's a low right there. But for 2A, that is not a low. So unfortunately, that's unfortunate. But that's just the way it is, man. So with that being said, we also have her 5B. And her 5B, this is where things get a lot more interesting. Because if you guys have ever played Smash Brothers, she's very similar to a character called Marth. And if you guys know who Marth is, he's a character that had a sword. And depending on where you hit the opponent with your sword, it could do different things. Like, for example, if you hit people with the very tip of the sword, then it does more damage, and you can do more things with it, of course. And then if you hit them with the body of the sword, or a little bit when they're a little bit closer to you, then that's they call it a sour hit and a tipper. The sour hit does less damage, does different things, doesn't really combo too well, and the tipper does a ton of damage. It launches better. It's the same thing here. So she has a tipper, which launches, and it does more damage. It does 1,500. And if you hit him with the rope if you don't hit him with the tipper, if you hit him with the body of the 5B, then it does 1,000 damage. It does 1,000 damage, and it does not combo into anything, and it's not jump cancelable. So, for example, if you hit them with the sour hit of 5B, you cannot jump cancel after it. You do not get a launcher, and you cannot combo into anything. So you have to hit them with the tipper, and they launch. That does more damage. You can jump cancel it. You can do a lot of things. So because of this, her optimal range of where she should be playing is this range right here, the mid screen. She dominates the mid screen, similar to how Gordeau does and other characters as well. But she is really good in the mid screen. So you want to space yourself well like that. So anyways, with that being said, that's her 5B. It's really good. Very, very, very good range. She can contest characters like Gordeau and others with really long range. And there's also her 2B, and her 2B is the same thing applies as her 5B. It has a tipper hit, which does more damage. You can jump cancel it as well and such, and you can combo into it too. So, and it has the same thing. It does have a sour hit, just like 5B does. And this one is not jump cancelable on block or on hit or anything like that. So, but if you do hit them with the tipper, they are jump cancelable on block, which really helps with pressure. So it's really, really good. So with that being said, that's her 2B. We also have her 5C, which is, of course, the universal overhead. It's a lot lower to the ground compared to other Ruby characters. The other Ruby characters, for some reason, they go flying in the air. So Blake's is a little bit lower to the ground. And unlike Weiss's, it's her JC, which is what we're going over next, her JC, which is this button right here, it's super strange because it's like a teleport. She doesn't drop down, and it's incredibly fast. It's really unique in that aspect, but it is similar to Ruby's, where you can not really instant overhead, but it's very strong in that regard. You can still special cancel it as well, so you can get a combo if you do an assist. But it's Weiss's misses completely, but Ruby's is the one that had an instant overhead. Blake has something very similar. You can jump up in the air and come down without them even knowing. It's kind of crazy. It's really, really good. So there's that. There's the JC. And, of course, it's special cancelable. I already said that, but I just wanted to reiterate. There's also her JB, which is really, really good. And this also has a sour and a... Oh, no, I'm sorry. It does not have a sour. But it has an arc where she can miss. Like that right there. You see that arc? In the middle? So the middle is where it misses. So it has to hit tipper. It doesn't have a sour hit because it'll whiff completely. So you have to be really careful spacing your JBs. But it's really good for just space control. So if you just want to harass people like this, you can most definitely do that. It's very long, a lot of range and such. So that's her JB. And of course, it is special cancelable on hit, just like every other thing. There's also her JA. And her JA is just this horizontal slash. It's not the best jump in. And I thought she wasn't going to have a really good jump in for when she gets up close. But then I found out that she has a J2A, which is this button right here. It's really strong for air-to-airs, for cross-ups. It does have some cross-up functionalities. And also, like, it hits crouchers really well. So you can do stuff like that, which is J2A, JA. So that's really good. J2A is the one that you want to be using for jump-in. So, like, if you jump cancel your strings, then you want to use J2A. It's really good. So that's her air normals. And her sweep. Let me go over her sweep. I thought this was going to be her sweep at first, but no, they gave her just a regular sweep. It's pretty decent. It's not, like anything fantastic or super amazing, but it's pretty decent. It's not too bad. It has a pretty decent amount of range. There's nothing too terrible about it, but it's nothing too spectacular about it either. So those are her normals. With that being said, let's go over her auto combos. Now, she has a very unique set of auto combos that not a lot of people have. So let's go over this in great detail here. So we have her 5A auto combo, which is this right here. And it's really good, first of all, for purposes like you want to do a quick side switch if you're in the corner. Let's say you're trapped in the corner by your opponent and you get the hit. You can just do a quick side switch. Now you're out of the corner, just like that. It's similar to Ruby's in that regard. So the reason why I say it's so unique is because it's one of the auto combos that launches, that is an A auto combo. So not a lot of characters have this. And the way she launches up in the air as well, she launches herself in the air as well, which makes for some really unique situations. So because mostly you would cancel into your 5B to launch, but there's no way for you to connect your A buttons to your B button and for it to combo. There's no way for you to do that. The only way for you to do that is to launch them up in the air and then use a JB and then continue on with the combo like that. So that's the only way for you to connect your A to your B auto. And speaking of the B auto combo, there it is right there. That is all she gets. Now, because of the tipper mechanic that she has, only the tipper will ever launch, which means that if you want the B auto combo to launch, you have to be at a specific space. So from this space right here, she can launch and you can convert off of it whenever you'd like. So like you can do a special move like that. So her auto combos are very interesting nonetheless. She's very unique in that regard because she has a 5A auto combo that launches, but she also launches herself up in the air. And she doesn't really have a way for her to combo her 5A normals or her A normals into her B normals without a specific route for her to take. So that's what makes her so unique. Now we've gone over her normals and her auto combos. Let's go over her special moves. Now she has quite a bit of special moves compared to other characters, so let's go over them all. So the first one's going to be 214A, which is this move right here. It does not launch by itself, but it is really good. It's really fast. Now this special move, it does have a follow-up, and actually has 3 different types of follow-ups, depending on which button you press when you do the special move. So if you press 214A, and then you press A again, you do a special move where you just go back in place, or back to the place where you took off. So there's that. And by the way, just a little side note on this move right here, just to let you all know that this move does cross up, okay? So the thing about this move right here is it does cross up. So, for example, you see the opponents or the enemy Blake block the side she's facing. So it sets to block everything, cross ups everything, which means that the way that she's facing is the way that she's blocking. So, for example, if I were to do that, right here, she's blocking facing left. If I, however, oops, that's my bad. However, if I do the follow-up, she's blocking the other way. That means it's a cross-up, and you do have to block it the other way. So, however, that's only if the Blake player that's doing the special move is delaying the hit, because if you just automatically just mash it, I think cross-up protection comes in or something like that, or auto block comes in, because it's in succession. There's no gap in between. But if you leave a gap, then that means it's a cross-up. You have to block the other way. So if you delay it like that, it's a cross-up. You got to block the other way. But if you do it super fast, there's no gap, that you don't have to worry about blocking the other way. Let's go over her other follow-ups. So she has 214A and B, which she stays on she just stays stationary and just kicks them in the face, just like that. And she also has a meter version of this move, just like that. That is the meter version of the follow-up, and it always appears on the other side of where she's at. So for example, if she ends up on the right side, so you see me going on the right side like that, she will always appear on the other side. She will always appear on the other side every time. So which means that you can get some crazy shenanigans going with her 214A special. So you can do delay, you can do a cross up, or you can literally stay on the same side if you want. Let me see if I can get that. Yeah, there it is. So there's the cross up, or you can stay on the same side. It's kind of it's a bit like weird, the mix up, but it is a mix up nonetheless. So you can literally, that's a cross up, just like that. And this is on the same side. So you have to make them guess. So depending on which button you press, you can mix them up like that. So it's really good in that regard. So there's the follow-up. There's 214B, which is this flurry of flurry slash that she does. And this also has follow-ups as well. Same, every single follow-up is the same. So the A is the dash down, and that diagonal dash that she does towards the opponent. And then, of course, the 214BB is that one, same one. And then she also has the meter version of that move. So that's all the same. And then, of course, her EX move, where she does that, is this weird slashing move. And these do have follow-ups as well, just like every single other one. However, if you do the meter version of this meter version and you press it again, it does cost 2 meters, which I hope, I was hoping that they would just kind of package it into 1 meter. Because it's really expensive. Like, look at that. That's not even worth it. So anyways, not necessarily the best move. It can be used for anti-airs maybe, but that's about it. Next up is our gunshots, and these are pretty interesting right here. She has these gunshots that are lows, by the way, and you do have to block them crouching, which means that, let me see. So this is set, it's crouching right now. You have to block this crouching. So right now it's blocking things, but things till like lows, it does not block. So the gunshots are lows. You see that yellow exclamation mark? That indicates that it's a low. That's 236A. It's quarter circle forward A. 2 shots. And then quarter circle forward B is 3 shots. Does more damage. And it has more range as well. And every single shot just goes over just an inch at a time. So like that time the 3rd bullet reached. Every single time. Okay. Just like that. And then there's the EX quarter circle forward. And that is her boomerang. Her assist. And it's really good because it's plus. Like, holy crap. You can just do this. It's really, really good. You don't want to mess with this this button. You can just do this over and over. It is plus from what I hear. And it is comboable. You can combo it from the boomerang. So like you do the boomerang, you can combo off of it. It's really good. So the boomerang is extremely good. And by the way, this is also plus. Just to let you all know, for the people that are wondering, this move is plus. And it does shoot depending on where the opponent is at. So if she is right in front of you, it will shoot literally right in front of you. And it is plus, by the way, the heavy version. This, it's safe. The light gun is safe, but it's not plus. This, the heavy gun is plus. And the boomerang is plus as well. So really, really good stuff. So anyways, those are her gunshots. So the next thing we're going to be talking about is probably something that a lot of people are curious about, and that's her clones. They're stayed true to her show that she's from, and they gave her clones in this game. So let's go over, first of all, let's go over what they are, and then we'll see, I'll tell you guys how to utilize them, or the best way that I found as to how to utilize each and every single one of the clones. So first of all, how you do them is you press down, down A, down, down B, or down, down C. And depending on which button you press, you get a different clone. All right. There's only 3 clones in the game. So down, down A is her stone clone, or down, down B is her shadow clone, and down, down C is her fire clone. All right. Those are all her clones. And the stone clone, what that does is it absorbs any one hit, whether it be physical or projectile. It absorbs only 1 hit. So if you throw just like 1 projectile at Blake, the clone will absorb it. Or if you can hit the clone at least once and it'll absorb it. All right. So, and it does add hit stop to whoever is trying to hit the clone. And what hit stop is, just to go over what hit stop is, I'm going to be controlling Ragna here real quick. I'm going to be recording a Hell's Fang right there, which is that special move. All right. So it moves him forward quite a bit. So I'm going to put down a stone clone, and he's going to do Hell's Fang. You see how it stopped him dead in his tracks? That's hit stop right there. So it does provide some hit stop, which is pretty good. It doesn't go through the clone completely. However, The clone can be ran by. So if you're controlling it, you can completely walk by the clone. It's not like Weiss's. So Weiss has a ice wall where she can set up an ice wall and you can't move anywhere. Like you can't run past it. However, the stone clones, you can run by them. I'm sorry. So you can run by the stone clones, but it does absorb a hit of a projectile or a physical hit. The shadow clone is a little bit different. It's probably the weakest one of the clones, in my opinion. I mean, people are trying their hardest to try and find some utilization, but the shadow clone is basically a trap. So if the opponent hits the clone or if your assist hits the clone, it disperses a big old fog and it makes Blake partly invisible. So if you put it down and you have a assist, wow, Jin, you completely missed, my boy. Just like that, it makes her partly invisible like that for a very brief period of time. So with that being said, you can set up some weird things. People have been trying to make this as viable as possible. And not just that, but you can, if the opponent hits it, then that means that it'll disperse the fog. But you cannot hit it. Oh, but that's right. I'm playing Blake as well. That's right. But anyways, you cannot hit it yourself. If you hit it yourself, nothing will happen. Your opponent or your assist has to hit the clone for it to work. So that's what the shadow clone does. And the fire clone, it does cost a meter, but that's for good reason. It works the same thing as the shadow clone, but instead of dispersing a fog, it blows up. So if you try to hit the fire clone, it will blow up in your face. So just like that, you can have the assist come in and the fire clone will blow up, or you can have the opponent hit it and you will blow up. That's what the fire clone does. It's really good for situations in the corner, for set play, for setups and stuff like that. Fire clone's pretty good. So those are her clones, and just a little bit of a utilization tips as to how to use the clones. I like to use the clones. The ones that I like to use a lot is, of course, Stone Clone and Fire Clone. Shadow Clone, I really don't have too much to say about that. It's kind of tough to land and kind of tough to use that over like Stone Clone or Fire Clone. So good luck with that. But anyways, the Stone Clone I like to use, for example, if they start blocking a lot of my block strings, especially if it's the block strings that you cannot jump cancel. So like the sour hits of her moves, you cannot jump cancel. So I like to do, in these kind of situations, I just like to leave a Stone Clone because it is special cancelable. All of her hits are special cancelable, just like that. So if I start pressuring, leave a Stone Clone, there's something in between the opponent and myself. So it's hard for them to punish me or for them to catch me. So that's all of Blake's gameplay right there, is literally being as slippery as possible, playing the mid screen and poking them from full screen. So the Stone Clone, I think I got the most utilization for in that regard. And of course there's Fire Clone, which is the second one that I use the most. And Fire Clone, of course, it's for things like if you execute a combo and then you end it off with a hard knockdown, you can set up a Fire Clone, and if they try to DP or if they try to do anything, the Fire Clone will stop them. You do a Fire Clone there, you can basically harass them. And if they try to break away, they will get destroyed. Just like that. So just that's just a little quick scenario as to how to use Fire Clone. Shadow Clone, really, it's really hard because you have to have an assist, either blow it up, and you can kind of like mix them up and such. So anyways, those are the clones for Blake. And also, a little bit of a side note with the clones. You know how she steps backwards when she does a clone? She also has the option to roll forward. You just have to do the clone and then roll forward. And just press forward. Well, that's all you gotta do. And this works with every single one of them. Just like that. Shadow Clone. Oh, whoops. Just like that. So you can roll forward. That's just a little side note on when you're using clones. Alright, next up, let's go over her distortions in the game. So she has two of them, of course. She has her quarter circle forward B and C, which is a projectile. It's a projectile distortion, and it's really good for in case the opponent does a assist. It's an assist killer. So let's record the opponent doing an assist, just like that. So if you see the super flash, you just do the projectile super, and it's an assist killer. essentially. All projectile assists or projectile supers or assist killers. So it's really good that she has one of these because that makes her really good in that department. So there's that. And there's also her Quarter Circle Back, which is just a regular super that does more damage than the projectile super. It's more of a damage distortion, so it's pretty good. And of course there is her Astral. Let's go over her Astral here. And of course it's universal. This is her Astral here. Thanos. And that's pretty much all of the special moves for her. But I do want to go over a few more things I forgot completely while I was recording the previous section. Is that with the special moves, you can do them in the air, by the way. All of them, like the follow-ups, everything, you can do it in the air. Especially, that includes the clones. So you can do every single one of the clones in the air if you'd like. So pretty cool. And then one other thing as well is with the special moves is that when you're doing the special move and instead of doing the follow-up, you actually can, you have the option to drop a clone. So instead of doing the follow-up like this one, you can do a clone. Any single one of them. And the same rule applies where you can roll forward. You can move forward when you're dropping an assist in the air. So like, just like that. You can, that's an option as well. So just to let you guys know about that. And then the last thing that I missed, I know I missed a lot of things, but I'm glad I got it in the video, is that any single one of the hits with her A buttons, you can actually dash cancel. And she has a little bit of a dash animation. So on hit or on block. So on hit, if you press forward, if you dash forward, like press forward twice, she dashes forward like that. This does not apply to her B normals. That would be sweet if that were the case, but it's only with her A normals. Every single one of them. You can dash cancel. The ABB, that, there you go. Just like that, all of them. You can dash cancel them. Not really too practical, but it can definitely psych out your opponents sometimes. Because she's very, that makes her not as linear as I thought she was going to be. Because you can really psych your opponent with going like that and then just grabbing them or just going for more pressure. So anyways, you can dash cancel every single one of her A normals. That's just to let you guys know. All right, one more thing before I continue with the guide. I know there's a lot of one more things, but I forgot to show off the enhanced distortions for Blake. So the projectile one, she just gets another hit, or she throws out another projectile pretty much, and the chip damage is pretty, like, look at that chip damage. It's pretty good. Let me see. Let's have her not block anymore, and let me show you the other distortion that gets enhanced. And this is just her regular damage distortion. Pretty cool. Pretty cool, man. So those are her enhanced distortions. Now that I think I've gone over everything, I don't think I missed anything. I really hope I didn't. So let's get into the practical uses of Blake. So a lot of people have asked me, all right, how do you use Blake efficiently? How do you really utilize her strengths, and how do you use her well in a match? All right, so this is the best that I played a lot with Blake online and such just to get ready for this tutorial, and I can definitely assure you that this character, her strength and her archetype relies in the mid screen right here. She can play rushdown up close, of course. I think any character can, but Blake in particular really shines in this space right here. This space is hers. So if there's any character that can combat her with this space right here, that's where she kind of struggles and she has some bad matchups. Like, for example, Gordeau, she can contest her range. New 13 can also contest her range. So on and so forth. But this is her domain right here because you can harass the opponent as much as you want. You can do as much shenanigans as you want as well. And if the opponent ends up blocking, this is one of Blake's really, really strong suits right here, is that if she hits tippers, because tippers are a big part of her gameplay, try and space yourself or practice spacing yourself correctly so you can stay away from the opponent enough for you to hit those tippers, because the tippers are jump cancelable on block, which makes you safe in any situation. Because one of the big things about Blake's gameplay, or one of the biggest weaknesses that she has, is a good anti-air. She does not have a good anti-air. The only anti-air she has is her reversal. which is good, but at the same time, it's not a normal that you can combo into, you know what I mean? Or that has head invul and it's completely safe, jump cancelable on block or on hit. She doesn't have any of that. She only has this right here, which can be very dangerous because it can be easily baited as well. So she really wants to keep her distance away from the opponent. She's a zoner in the regards to, she doesn't have projectiles or anything necessarily, but she has large normals, which she can really play defensively. So if you like playing defensively, this is the character for you. You just want to run away as much as possible and try to poke them, harass them as much as possible. And if they start jumping at you, which the opponent will start doing because they have no other choice, they can't approach from the ground because Blake kind of controls the ground from this space right here. You can run underneath them, try to air them. You can DP them, either or. That's where she really shines, the mid screen. This is where you want to practice all your Blake combos and such. But in the off case that she does have some rush down, like I said, she does have some rush down stuff. So in the off case that she is up close, she does have pretty good, decent normals up close. It's not exactly the best, but it's something, you know. So she does have some rush down normals, but for the most part, this is where she shines right here. So I went over this a little bit earlier today. I went over a little bit of her weaknesses, like for example, her anti-air. Her anti-air, really, she does not have an anti-air normal, which can really hinder her gameplay. So it really promotes a lot of mid-screen gameplay, and once the opponent gets in, it's really hard for them to get off Blake. Now, there's a lot of universal mechanics in the game, like push block, like bursting, like reversals that can really help Blake in the long haul. But for the most part, she has a real big blind spot when she gets in. So like she has large normals, but once they start jumping around you and they're right in your face, there's really not much you can do. So, and like I said, like you do have reversals that you can do that, but in certain circumstances, like they can bait it and completely punish you, and that's it. That's the end of that. So that's a huge blind spot for her, which can really like mess her up once the opponent gets in. So it's really hard for them to get off. But like I said, you can rely on universal mechanics like that. Also, like other things like matchups as well, like other characters that can contest her range. She can not struggle with, but she can definitely, like, you do have to be on your feet when you're facing against another Gordeau, or if you're facing against New 13. Any characters that can contest her range can really, really hinder her. Or any characters that can really get in really quickly, like Yosuke or Jin, or any one of those characters that have really strong pressure and really strong shenanigans, and they're really quick, and it's hard to get off. Hard for them to get off. She can really struggle in those things. But of course, everything can be manageable with some practice and some training, of course. If you master the art of escaping, I don't want to say running away, escaping is the proper way to put this, then you can basically play her against anybody. So she's very, very strong. I really like this character, but she does have a few weaknesses and just a little bit of an insight of the matchups as well. Let's go over some characters that she can be really good with. Now, obviously, the one that I'm using right now is probably one of her better ones because Jin is incredibly good and really compensates for Blake's weaknesses. So Jin has a really good projectile assist. It's this one right here. It's really good. And at the same time, Jin also has a very strong assist as well with Blake. So they both compensate each other extremely well. This team is incredibly strong. And there's also a really good combo extender for both Jin and Blake. This one right here. So it makes up for some really good cross combos as well. And the best thing that I thought was really, really good with Blake was, of course, the anti-air assist. It's the best one in the game. Jin has the best anti-air assist in the whole entire game. Just like that. So it's really, really strong. It can really compensate for a lot of Blake's weaknesses. Or her biggest weakness, which is, of course, not having a reliable anti-air for when they get in, up close. Whoops. Sorry, microphone. So Jin is incredibly good with Blake, and Jin is really good. Jin is really good with Blake. Blake's really good with Jin. It's a match made in heaven. The next character that I found some really good synergy with, now I played this team randomly, and for some reason it just really stood out to me that Chia and Blake can work really well with zoning, if you know what I mean, because Chia has an assist where she takes flight and she can kind of cover the air, not by much, but by a little bit, enough for Blake to actually cover the ground while Chia covers the air. So it covers two options at the exact same time. It's really, really, really cool how they can both do this. So it's literally like spacing, just all about spacing right here. And to be honest, like Blake doesn't really need too much help approaching because her approaching tools are just incredibly good, and really she doesn't really need to move anywhere. She just needs to stay back and start throwing out her crazy long buttons, and because of that she needs help kind of like getting people out of the air, or maybe even like keeping them stationary, because while Blake like harasses them on the ground, so Chia can really like harass them in the air and keep them stationary. Not just that, but of course like Chia has a really, really strong assist game in terms of like a stationary assist or like a cross-up assist, like for example if you want to do stuff like that. So you can do like some crazy things like that, and some pressure assists as well, and a good combo extender. This team is a very strange team, but I found some really good use with it by using like some Chia dragon kick assists. So this team is really good in general, and of course you can't go wrong with Chia using Blake's incredible assists as well, because that's where Chia's weaknesses are, but that's for another video, of course. Of course, you can never go wrong with Gordeau. Gordeau having one of the strongest assist games in the game because of Grim Reaper, because of his projectile assist, which is his force function. It does a pretty decent range, and also just like his defensive assist, which is that right there. He just slams the ground, and it can be very useful for defensive tools. If you, but most likely I use it for Grim Reaper assist, because Grim Reaper can cover her head. It can cover a large amount of the screen as well, and to really cover her weaknesses. So you can really harass, and if they try to get smart and try to jump in, and if they finally get in, you can of course Grim Reaper to push them back and have Blake run away and continue on with her poking. So Gordeau extremely strong. Of course, combo extenders, and he has an assist that can push away the opponent when he hits them, which can really set up for some good combos with her 5B. So she can convert pretty much off of anything with Gordeau. Well, everybody, that about does it. I'm getting the heck out of here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed and learned something new about Blake. Hopefully you guys can pick up this character and have fun with her immediately after you buy the game, or pick up this character, of course. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on, Mr. Tartar. I need you to hook me up. Thank you so much, Mr. Tartar. Oh, isn't she adorable? But yeah, that was pretty much Blake in a nutshell. She is incredibly strong. I really like this character. She's one of my favorite characters to use. I mean, this game really, really was built for the Ruby characters, so they are all incredibly strong. I can't wait for Yang to come out. That's the last character I'm going to be going over in the Ruby series, of course, because that's the only 4 characters in the game as of right now. But nonetheless, I'm getting the heck out of here. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully you guys learned something new about the character. If you guys have any questions for me in terms of the character, if I missed anything during this tutorial, let me know in the comment section down below. I'll be looking out for that, and I'll post it in the description if I missed anything with the character. And if you guys have any questions to ask me directly, follow me on Twitter, and also follow me on Twitter for any updates on the channel or myself. Follow me on Twitch for live gaming, of course, as always. Follow the channel for more guides and BB tag content. I'll be doing a lot more of this, so subscribe to the channel, guys. Like the video if you guys did, and I will see you guys in the next guide or BB tag video, or next video in general, whatever I decide to do at the time. Peace out, everybody. Have a great day.